Let's talk about some common reasons why you might want to start an online business. Now, the very first one that I consider is the flexibility of hours and the location in which you can work. An online business owner can set their own schedule and their working environment, leaving more time for fun, personal activities, or whatever you want to do. Working on an online business on a part-time basis can take, about 3 to 4 hours a day. Again, this is all dependent on the type of business that you have started and you're running. Now, again, depending on the type of business, you can also expect to work up to 60 hours a week or more. Now, the very first business I started, even though it was an online business, we were manufacturing or making handmade products. And so that is where all of the real time consumption was, because we were manually, physically creating the product that we were selling on our store, an online store. The other reason why you might want to consider a online business is because of low startup costs and also low overhead. Now, unlike a traditional or brick and mortar store or brick and mortar business, growing an online business doesn't require a physical location, and you can make money just with only a laptop and a good internet connection in many different ways. So the other thing is low overhead. Starting a business is one thing because sometimes you have to have startup costs like, getting a domain name and getting a website and maybe getting some basic equipment like a computer, or if you need a microphone or video or whatever, there may be some startup costs along the way. Now for me, I built my office here over time, and so I didn't have all that expense up front. And the cool thing about these expenses is that you can write them off on your taxes because it's a business expense. Now, growing an online business, you can make money with just your laptop, with an internet connection, and really some basic things. A lot of the tools that you can use online are for free or very low cost. Now, the other reason why you might want to consider starting an online business is just the sheer volume or audience that you can reach with an online platform. Online businesses are not limited to the local market, and you're not limited to just what is going on in your area. The internet lets you sell your products worldwide, basically. In essence, you become a global company at that point. Now, I want to talk to you about some ideas of businesses that you can start, and I'm not going to dig deep into these because I've got quite a few I want to rehearse through, but let me just share some ideas. What I'd recommend you do is go to the magic portal of google.com and type in something like Trending Online Businesses 2023, or whatever the year is that you happen to be watching this video. But here are some ideas that are trending right now. And actually, online businesses in general are trending, and entrepreneurship is definitely trending as we move out of as we're in a post-pandemic era where people are looking for other opportunities other than just going and working for a company. And by the way, I want to mention that as part of another reason. A lot of people just want to work for themselves. They're tired of the commute. They're tired of their boss and the political bullshit that goes on in offices, the office politics and so forth. And so they're tired of all that. Now, if you build your online business correctly, you don't have to have a lot of employees. Now, some of the ideas that you might have, because of time constraints, if you want to make more money, you have to add employees. But a lot of these ideas that I'm going to talk to you about really are, onesie twosies, like you and your significant other, your spouse or whatever. And in my case, I had, my mom and my dad and my cousins and my aunt and uncle and the neighbors helping me when we were manufacturing product. But let's talk about some of the best ideas right now to get started. And these are relatively low impact, low overhead, low startup costs in general. But you can start with this idea of becoming a freelancer or gig worker. Now, this is kind of low-hanging fruit because what we're doing is we're working with what you already know. These are your skills and abilities. This is what you do for a day job. Now, let me just say this. If you're going to do this as a side hustle, as a side business, as you're working your day job, you need to be careful that you're not violating any contract agreements that you have with your employer, because in essence you could very well be competing against your employer, and you got to be careful. That a lot of times you'll hear or you'll see in your contracts moonlighting clauses. Moonlighting meaning that you're working a second job. But you could become a freelancer or gig worker, and that's all that is taking what you already know and you're offering it independently out in the marketplace. And there are tons of websites that help you do that, and I'm not going to go through those. Do your research. Another area that you could look at is starting a blog or becoming a guest post write guest posts, or even be a ghostwriter for blogs. And then with that, there's also the idea of self-publishing a book or an ebook. Now, I have self-published several books, and I'm going to tell you that is not a get-rich-quick scheme, okay? Writing a book is very time-consuming. Selling a book is a whole other creature unto itself, and you have to really be out there pounding the pavement with it and really marketing it. I'm not saying don't do it, because I have about 5 books self-published under my own company name. Now, this is where we start getting into a place where you're going to start a business that's going to start requiring maybe a little bit of outlay of capital to get started, and then a monthly outlay thereafter. And that would be to start an online store. Now, again, depending on what you're selling, how much you're selling, and how you're selling, and so forth, it's going to determine the type of outlay that you're going to have. An online store at the very basic level, you might need to get a domain name. You might need to rent or pay into a monthly membership fee or an annual fee to have access to a online store platform. And so you'll want to look at those things. And of course, also building out that platform, there are some costs that might be involved. And if you're going to house your inventory, you're going to have to outlay funds for inventory. And we'll talk about some of that as we go along through here in the next couple of items. Another area that you can sell on is Amazon, eBay, Etsy. Alibaba, I think, has it. But again, you need to do your research, because each one of those platforms do have fees associated with accessing the consumer market. Then in that same realm of online stores, you can do drop shipping. Now, that still requires you to have some sort of platform where you're showing a product that you're championing, that you're selling, that you're trying to get out there, and you've bought it at wholesale, let's say. But you're going to have it drop shipped. And what that means is you're listing it at retail price on your website or at a premium price, and you have found a wholesaler that will not only sell it to you, but also ship it for you for a small piece of the pie. So you could do drop shipping. And what that allows you to do is to enter into an agreement with a wholesaler and to offer a product that they will service you with, and you don't have to house the inventory. Now, there are some costs involved with that, obviously, for shipping and so forth. Now, here's a really unique idea that I want to talk to you about that's in the same vein of selling things, and that is where you can flip or sell thrifted goods. And in that same regard, I'm going to also say you could flip or sell other goods that you find, and I'm going to try to talk about this all as one. You can go to a thrift store and find something. Maybe you're into vintage clothing, or you're into vintage kitchen items. There's a whole sub-universe out there of people that go and they look for cast iron skillets and other cooking implements made out of cast iron. Whatever it is, you can go out there and find it. And if you have enough knowledge of that product, and how much it's being sold for, you might be able to buy it and resell it out on your website for a better price. So you get the margin. Okay. The other thing you can do, and I've seen tons of videos on this, and honestly, I've never done it, but I have a really good friend that does this. And what they do is they go to different stores, whether it be Marshalls or TJ Maxx or Walmart or whatever, and they go to the area where they're having the clearance and they look for items in there. And again, it requires a little bit of knowledge. Maybe you have a smartphone with you to look up how much an item particularly retails for. And what you could do is buy that for that clearance price and resell it on your website for, you know, the asking price, the normal retail price, or maybe you want to sell it for $5 or $10 cheaper than the retail price, but you're still going to make money. All of this can be done with thrift goods. Maybe you can find these clearance items in a Walmart or some other place that has a clearance area. And I can tell you, my Walmart where I live, I go down there just because I'm curious what's down there, and I see things like in the spring you'll start to see things like heaters on sale because they weren't able to sell all the heaters or something. Or maybe in the fall, you might see, late fall going into the winter, you might see a chainsaw or something, and it's for half the price that they were retailing it for. So you need to do your homework, but those are some ideas that you can look at. Some other things you could do is to sell like pet products or other specialty items. Maybe you can sell handmade goods. That was my first business, was a handmade product. We made handmade soaps and lotions, bath gels, but we made them at a very high quality, and they were all natural. And we were trying to compete with the legacy brands that are out there today. Some other areas you could think about is selling digital products. Now, a digital product could be a spreadsheet, it could be a form, a tool, whatever, or it could be a video or something, a digital product, something you would have to physically download. You can also sell photograph prints. Now, interesting thing, I'm old enough to remember actual real cameras where you had to develop the film and then you had to develop the pictures. And so I remember those times. And I can tell you back then that my uncle was a professional photographer, and he would actually sell his photograph prints, or he would license them out to be used for a period of time, and he would license them to magazines and different things like that. You can also sell stock photography on websites. Again, all of this requires you to do some research to make sure you understand the nuances of it. I'm not going to be able to get into all that. Sell an NFT, a non-fungible product. Video production or editing. Maybe you know how to shoot a video. Maybe you know how to edit a video. Maybe you know how to do cool graphics and explosions and everything. I have a really good friend that's in the space where he is teaching people how to do videos, and his videos are amazing. But he doesn't do them all now. He actually has an editor do them, but they're still really cool. And I remember when he was doing them for hours himself. The point I'm trying to make is he has a video editor now doing the stuff that he doesn't have time to do, and they help with his production and so forth. Some other things you could do is graphic design. That could be anywhere from developing an advertisement to developing PowerPoint slides or whatever. Print on demand. This is huge. Let's say that you have the ability to create an artistic piece, maybe a drawing, maybe you're a photographer or whatever, or maybe you have this really brilliant idea or this saying or slogan or whatever. You can actually go out there, go to google.com and type in print on demand companies. There are companies out there that will allow you to set up a shopping platform on their platform, shopping site, where you can put that image or that slogan or whatever it is on all sorts of things, from keychains to pencils to sweatshirts to hats to backpacks, you name it. That is a really cool thing. And I know people that, they will sell a sweatshirt that you can get wholesale for, let's say, $20. With their slogan, they'll sell them for $60. And of course, you need to do your homework because there is some fees involved with that. But again, you're still making a huge margin when it comes to that. So print on demand is really big. You ought to look into that. Then there's this idea. Now, this is where we get into more complexity, and this is probably getting on the side where you're going to have employees at some point, and there's a lot of labor-intensive stuff involved with this. But you can get to the point where you're doing some sort of subscription box. Now, you've seen these subscription boxes before, I'm certain of it. BarkBox is one. You see these different subscription boxes for food where you can order food that's been curated, and all you need to do is follow the instructions to cook it. There's all sorts of subscription boxes. One of my favorites that I've seen out there is a subscription box where you go through a series of questions, and what they do is they curate an outfit or series of outfits for you, male or female, young or old. They curate them for you, and you get a box each month, and they usually cost, that you have a range that you'll tell them you're willing to pay. And so let's say it's about $150 to get an outfit each month. Now that's actually pretty good if you're thinking about the shoes and the belt and the slacks and the shirt and maybe an outer garment like a jacket or sweater or something. $150 is not really bad. But my point is that's a subscription box, and they have to do curation of that. So there's some labor intensity involved with that. But that's an idea. You can also start a consulting business. Now, that means that you're going to take your expertise, whatever it is, and you're going to put that to work for you. Now, the problem with a consulting business is that you can only do as much as your time allows. So if you work 40 hours a week, you're only going to top out at 40 hours a week, unless you find a way to leverage your time for this consulting business. Now, I'm not going to dig too deep into this, but you can become an affiliate marketer. And basically what that means is that you're marketing other products and services through different means, through websites, through videos, whatever. Now, some other ideas would be to flip and sell websites. Now, sometimes this means that you have to have inventory. Sometimes this means that you're helping someone else sell their website, and you're going to get a margin of that. You can also flip and sell domain names, buy and sell domain names. And I kind of have a love-hate relationship with that because there's squatters for domain names. They'll actually get a hold of a really good domain name that you want. And rather than spending the, whatever it is you'd get from GoDaddy or one of the others, maybe it'd be normally $40. They're going to try to sell it to you for $5,000, $6,000, $10,000, whatever it is. So, that's that. Now, you can be a social media influencer. That means that you have to have some sort of talent. Maybe you're funny. Maybe you like to tell stories. I would tell you if my dad would get on social media and told stories, he could make money just off of advertisement, and that's how people do that. Most of the people make money off of social media by advertising, and they sell merch, which is that print on demand. Okay. You can do coaching and mentoring, which is much like a consulting business. If you know anything about WordPress, and you're saying, I don't know what that is, don't worry. But if you did understand what WordPress was, you could do WordPress support in some way. You can be a publicist or a PR person, all from your home. You can design websites, or you can audit and test websites for other people. Maybe you have the ability to develop apps or games, and that is certainly a huge area right now. Content and copyright. Now, content writing and copywriting is a little bit different than blogging and writing for a book. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Content and copywriting is really what you're going to put in your marketing material on your website and so forth. And on that, you can also offer social media marketing services as well. Now, there's some other things where you could work as what we call virtual recruiter, a virtual assistant, or we used to call them secretaries, but we don't use that word anymore. You can also do things that are really cool. Let's say you love to shop. You love to find a bargain. You love to help people match with their style or whatever it is to that person. You can become a virtual buyer or a virtual fashion advisor, whatever. Of course, there's also customer service and tech support or cybersecurity expert, social media management, meaning that you're going to manage someone else's social media for them. So all they have to do is create content. You can do small business bookkeeping services, transcription services, be a receptionist, an event planner, a personal trainer. I can't tell you how many people I've seen out there that are doing virtual personal training. And it's not just one-on-one where you're talking to the person through a Zoom or Google Meet or something, but also they're doing one and dones where they create a video. They say, this is the most asked question about how to properly do whatever. And they'll show a video of it, and that would be part of the platform. So you can do virtual training. Counselor, of course, is another area that goes along with coaching, mentoring, consulting. There's counselors or therapists. You can create an online course. Now, this is what I do. I create online courses. They're one and done. Video like this, where I'll spend, a couple of hours putting together what I'm going to say and actually do the video, edit the video, and then I put it out there and people can access it over and over again. So you can create online courses. Tutoring students online, college preparation coaching, start a podcast. Now, again, podcasts, that gets a little more complicated because you need equipment. You don't need a video, but you certainly need a microphone. You need some sort of computer that you can put that through. Maybe you need some sort of audio product that you can edit, and then you need to have a platform to put it out there. And I use Anchor.fm. That's my podcast platform, and it works for me. And incidentally, it's free. And the reason why it's free is because people know that there's going to be advertisements on there. You can, of course, launch a YouTube channel. And again, that's going to require a little bit of outlay because maybe you need some equipment. Maybe you're going to do a video. Maybe you need audio equipment. Maybe you need some sort of editing suite to edit video. All of that to consider, but it's really low margins when it comes to that. Okay. Writing resumes and cover letters is a really big thing, and that goes along with writing services. Offer translation services, or maybe you want to be an audiobook narrator or otherwise. Again, you're going to need certain equipment for that. So that's roughly a little over 50 ideas for business that I just threw out there. Now, finding an online business idea is only the beginning of a very long journey as an internet entrepreneur. Now, the next steps really fall into something that I've been saying over and over again, and that is you need to conduct your research. You need to conduct market research. You need to identify who your target audience is going to be and what is the market demand for that actual item, whether it's a product or service that you're going to offer. Decide on your niche or niche that you're going to explore, that you're going to dig into. You're obviously going to need to, at some point, get a domain name or web hosting or whatever. But before you do that, you can start with free platforms like Facebook, where you start a page or a group that is dedicated to the product or service that you're wanting to do. Obviously, you're going to need to build out a website that represents your brand at some point. I personally use Wix, Wix.com. If you want some access to that, let me know. I'd be more than happy to do that. And in the end, you're going to have to promote your product or service on various online platforms. Some of that you'll have to pay for. Some of that you can do what we call organically, where you're doing videos like this. I use TikTok. I do other things like Instagram and Facebook, where I'm not directly selling anything, but what I'm doing is I'm offering information. And if people want more information, they're welcome to visit my website. Okay, that kind of gives you an overview of some reasons why you should start an online business. What are some ideas to get started in an online business? And then what are some things you need to do once you get that idea? If you need any help or you want to dig deeper into launching your own business, we teach people how to start online businesses and grow them successfully. And we also work with individuals who already have established businesses that want to take them to the next level. For more information, go to our website, MaximumChange.com. Hope you have a great day. See you soon.